International football on ITV in association with Lloyds Bank.
It's not the first time we've enjoyed watching a Brazilian score, but this time it meant a little bit more because Romario's equaliser ensured that England had won Le Tournoi. Glenn Hoddle's reign bears its first fruit. Now the acid test against the world champions. David Beckham won't be there. That controversial booking against France cost him his chance to face Brazil. So do England have the firepower to light up the Parisian night and burn bright against the best in the business?
It's Ronaldo. Ronaldo! Yes! It's Roberto Carlos. Oh! Pick that out!
Good evening. Yes, Game 5 of Le Tournoi saw England seeking to add the scalp of the world champions to those of Italy and France. Requirements needed? Well, resilience and a touch of magic. Something like this. The best goal ever scored by an Englishman against Brazil. 13 years ago to the day, the 10th of June 1984, venue the Maracanã Stadium, scorer, well, you've guessed, of course, John Barnes. A 20-year-old John Barnes it was, wasn't it, 13 years ago? It was a famous 2-0 victory. Just tell us, how special is it to play against Brazil as a footballer?
If you say to any player from any country he was only going to win one cap, who would he like to be against? And it'd have to be Brazil. That was the case 13 years ago. That is the case now, as you can see from David Beckham's disappointment in being booked with the realization that he was going to miss the Brazil match. It's extremely special. Yeah.
Well, tonight we had so much to look forward to, John, didn't we? Not least of which was the comparison between Ronaldo and Alan Shearer.
Yeah, I mean, they've both got great goal-scoring records. Alan was a little bit slow off the goal-scoring mark, but since the European Championships, his scoring rate has been phenomenal. And as you can see, he scored 11 goals in the last 11, with Romario 12 in the last 12.
Yeah, with Ronaldo.
Sorry, Ronaldo 12 in the last 12.
Well, you've mentioned him. We mustn't forget the old boy here at 31.
Yeah, since he's got back into the side, he's lost weight, he's got really fit, and I saw him score a hat-trick against Mexico, and as you can see, he's got 7 in the last 6. So there's also Teddy Sheringham to add to that trio.
Very different styles of play, those three guys.
Yeah, Alan is, I would say, people may disagree, but I would say Alan is the best finisher of the lot of them. Ronaldo is more explosive with his pace. Romario is cuter, but in terms of being able to put the ball in the net from any angle with his head, a real poacher, I would say Alan Shearer is ahead of Ronaldo at the moment.
That's interesting. But Romario more of a creator nowadays than his old role?
Yeah, he's dropping off, getting the ball, creating a lot of goals for Ronaldo, bringing people into play, and Ronaldo is the one who really plays up front. But just in terms of goal scoring, I think Alan is shades it just slightly, but Ronaldo is still only 20.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's been billed as the ultimate test for Glenn Hoddle in England. Brazil, champions of the world, and still champions of the unusual and spectacular. Commentary team in the Parc des Princes, Ron Atkinson and Clive Tilsley.
It's Paris in the summertime. England winning at football and cricket. One trophy won already. Don't anybody dare try to wake me up. The return of our latest national hero, Paul Scholes, is the most eye-catching of 4 England changes for tonight's game. Martin Keown is preferred to Gary Neville at the back. Paul Ince and Teddy Sheringham both start.
Well, I think the first thing you look at is whether Martin Keown will get the job of man-to-man marking the great Ronaldo. Our bet is that he will. Secondly, we're looking at Gascoigne and Scholes starting a game together in midfield. They've got to do the attacking from that position. How will it work?
The Tournoi De France is England's already, but Glenn Hoddle has still set out a clear agenda for his team tonight.
Put in a good performance. And to let the people, you know, that are out there learn again, you know, playing Brazil, you're playing the very best. Can we pick up things that possibly, you know, can make us better players and a better team?
Brazil are just 3 days away from the start of the South American Championships in Bolivia, but named their strongest available lineup, the one that finished Sunday's sumptuous draw with Italy. 19-year-old Denilson and 22-year-old Flavio Conceição both start in midfield.
Well, that lineup really should read Tafarel, 10 attackers, because that's the philosophy of this Brazilian side, and that's the way they'll try and play tonight. They've got one change. Flavio comes in for the suspended Mario Silva in midfield. That actually gives them more attacking options.
England in red, already the history makers. In the last 2 weeks, they've won in Poland for the first time since 1966, beaten Italy for the first time since 77, and won on French soil for the first time since 1949. Quite a collection. David Seaman, who has rather bad memories of this stadium. 2 years ago, Naeem beat him from the halfway line in the Cup Winners' Cup final at the other end. Didn't make the most positive of starts, did he? He's got Roberto Carlos to test him out in these opening moments. And Seaman let it drift beyond him, and Graham Lusso had to head behind. Tonight, England seek their first win over a reigning world champion since beating Argentina at Wembley 17 years ago. The record book may be in need of a summer reprint. The corners towards Aldair. It's dealt with by Martin Keown. Capu's header for Leonardo, playing on his home ground. He is, of course, a Paris Saint-Germain man. Capu through the legs of Ince, driven in dangerously, and Sheringham concedes another corner, and England are on the ropes here.
Well, it certainly looks as if Paul Ince has gone to sleep there. Great attacking move from Cafu. Nutmegs him, gets past him. Ince is clawing and trying to catch him, but Cafu almost sets the first goal up.
Longer towards Romario this time, and Sheringham is again the man who clears England lines. Shearer, no nonsense. Just trying to give England some breathing space on a breathless night. It is very clammy in Paris. Romario coming back inside his own half of the field. Looking long for Ronaldo with Keown at his side. Well won by Sheringham. Keown holding off Ronaldo. Is a Brazil throw. In fact, Roberto Carlos will take it, but it does look as if Campbell will be with Romario and Keown with Ronaldo for most of the evening. This is Leonardo running against the spare man Southgate. Corner kick. Roberto Carlos takes in towards Aldair, cleared by Ince. Scholes. England just need to try and get their foot on the ball and string 4 or 5 passes together. Sheringham to Gascoigne. One back by Roberto Carlos. Now Scholes. That's an interesting ball towards Shearer. Roberto Carlos got back, was stretching. Turned out of harm's way rather unconventionally by Tafarel, who I think was in 2 minds as to whether or not Roberto Carlos would have been deemed to have played a back pass. This is Sheringham, but Shearer for once didn't quite anticipate his partner in crime's idea.
Yeah, simply and purely safety first.
All mistake by Southgate. This is Ronaldo. Oh, what a good recovery by Sol Campbell.
That could well go down as the tackle of the tournament. That was a brilliant recovery tackle. He's just about to pull the trigger, and a nice clean foot there from Campbell.
So has made a run wide to Gascoigne's left. Instead, the short pass from Scholes, and now Ince. Gascoigne took another look at Massot, but again, England working their way with neat, tight triangles into the path of Ince, who really got hold of that. And Tafarel was scrambling. Good approach play from the three key men in the England midfield.
Yes, certainly our best move of the game. Some good interplay between Ince and Gascoigne. Ince drives to the box. It's a fine left-footed shot, and Tafarel is a stretch to keep it out.
Fabio Conceição into the path of Cafu. Leonardo. Kunga. Now Aldair. Danielson. Held up by Neville. And eventually fouled by Neville.
It's just about overstretched his body weight in there, young Neville.
It's only Danielson's 5th cap.
It also won't do any harm to Nielsen to know that the English boys are going to make a challenge of it. That's accidental when he scored him in the face, by the way.
Every time we get a glimpse of Brazil, we're reminded of the depths of their talent reserves. The last time, 2 years ago at Wembley, we became aware of Juninho and Roberto Carlos, saw the raw potential in Ronaldo. Brazil won 3-1 at Wembley and claimed the Umbro Trophy that afternoon. Now, new names like Danielson's are emerging in a new tournament. That's how he got that blow in the face. Gascoigne enjoying a little bit of space here. It's not a luxury that he enjoys very often. Sheringham, Lasso. That's the joy for a player like Gascoigne. He knows full well that Brazil, who are a team who want to try and expand the game and play with ingenuity, but they're likely to allow any opponent with anything like the same kind of technique to do the same. England have an injury problem, hence Gascoigne's rather hasty clearance. I think it's Martin Keown who's down. Leonardo's really make much attempt to clear that, and Keown landed very, very awkwardly on his right arm. It looks like his right shoulder might have come out there. But a big night for Martin Keown ends prematurely, and it becomes a big night instead for the elder Neville brother. His last 5 starts in the England team have been at centre-back. That would appear to be his nominated role for England these days, although he had the second half against the Italians in a wider role, and he will just slot right in on the right-hand side of that England trio. Campbell. Gascoigne. Campbell crossed in towards Shearer, who actually found a little bit of space between defenders then, and will perhaps be a touch disappointed with his finish.
I mean, that's the end of a good move. Campbell stepping out, the defence crosses a fine ball. As you say, Shearer's still got plenty to do as a distance. I mean, unfortunately, couldn't pull the ball down.
Romario. Roberto Carlos back to Jalminha. Managed to dig out a cross, which Lasso glances away for a corner in the knowledge that Romario was waiting behind him. Bit of a shiner there, Lasso. I think he had it at the start of play. Corner which Roberto Carlos takes in towards Aldair. Well dealt with by Southgate.
Yeah, been a bit disappointed with the quality of corners that Brazil have taken. If you look at the quality of players to take, Roberto Carlos, Leonardo, and they haven't really yet produced. They've aimed a few at the near post and they've overhit a lot.
Well, no practice. Ronaldo through to Leonardo. He's still got a chance. Little expression on the face of his coach. But Leonardo, with the help of a run of the ball there, found a way through to a clear side of David Seaman.
Yeah, it's a persistent run. He's got a clear sighting of the goal, and I would guarantee this is his ground he scores at week in and week out. Here it is again, a little threaded ball. Ronaldo, we've seen, little up, puts it in his path, should score from there. He's typical of the tournament he's having, I think, Leonardo.
Gascoigne just ran away from him, but he's managed to retrieve it for Scholes. And now Sheringham. Gascoigne was offside. Referee happy for play to continue. Leonardo on the ball. Romario. Cafu is trying to get forward here. On the ball is Jalminha. And now Romario. He's away from Neville. And David Seaman was very, very alert.
Here there's Romario. Almost vintage Romario. Tucks around Neville, on his way, moving quick. Full marks to Seaman, comes well out there and frightens him to death.
Given away by Dunga rather wastefully, and this is Shearer. And down he goes under the challenge of Dunga, who was trying to atone for his earlier error.
Shearer doing what he loves doing, driving infield onto his right foot. Dunga somehow just leaves a leg out. Can Gascoigne out Roberto Carlos?
Referee's got the wall back to give England every chance. It will be Alan Shearer. And he couldn't quite get the ball to perform the gymnastics that Roberto Carlos did a week or so ago.
In actual fact, it's well wide and it's miles wide.
Jalminha in towards Ronaldo. He's got beyond Southgate here, and David Seaman had to save with his legs.
Just sitting here thinking, I've seen little or nothing of Ronaldo. It should be time for him to burst. I think Southgate hesitated a little bit there, and that's a brilliant, brilliant goalkeeping from Seaman.
Brazil corner, which Roberto Carlos will take. They do play it long to Romario. Heavy control from him. And now Dunga, who fancies his chances, is probably amongst the top 100 shooters in Brazil.
No, he did build a reputation years ago as being a big shot from coming onto things at the edge of the box, but certainly not looking at hitting them like that.
Roberto Carlos to Ronaldo. Shearer back there. The two men who dominated the pre-match talk involved in direct confrontation, and Shearer and Ronaldo are both yellow carded. Two very expensive cards.
Well, that is ironic, isn't it? The two of them, they both had a little petulant kick at each other. I wonder how much of that is due to the pre-match hype about who is the best.
Shearer said that he loves the tag of being the world's most expensive player. He knows that the other number 9 is likely to take that away from him any day now. Gascoigne felt that was handball, and it was. Stepping away from Leonardo. Finding Shearer. Finding Sheringham. Trying to drive it back towards Gascoigne. Good header from Neville. Free kick has been given. In fact, that's the last action. A few of the fireworks of one or two of the earlier games, but England have pretty successfully doused the Brazilian player. David Seaman has had to make a couple of smart saves and has certainly had a lot of corner kicks to deal with, but at times England have looked every bit as creative as their opponents, and whilst they haven't gone on from a useful patch midway through the half, they've managed to keep their opponents at arm's length and keep another clean sheet, and at half-time are deadlocked with the world champions. 0-0.
Shearer setting off through the centre. Long ball to Shearer. Shearer! An unbelievable goal!
Lucozade Sport is designed for top athletes. It delivers fluid and energy fast, so I'm always ahead of the game.
England's ranking in the FIFA hit parade of top teams has already improved here in the last week. Around about 7th now, and that could be a key factor in the World Cup seedings next year. Of course, we haven't qualified yet, but Germany and Holland are amongst a clutch of big names sweating on that. If we do qualify, a lot of encouragement will have been taken from the way that this team has acquitted itself since the end of the domestic season. One or two players, Southgate amongst them, have really grown in stature during their stay in France. Sadly, Martin Keown is on his way to Paris hospital to have that shoulder injury properly diagnosed, but it did look a serious one. Roberto Carlos. Dunga. Mario had made a run, and Southgate saw him off. Gascoigne. I think the fatigue element is now becoming a factor in the tournament, Ron. I think they do look a little wearier, both teams, this evening.
Yes, they've had a lot of football. Obviously, England peaked to win the tournament, and whether they've still got quite the same competitive edge. It's very oppressive, the conditions. All those factors add up to players now starting to tire and wanting to be at home. Brazil can't, of course, do so. They go straight into their major tournaments at the weekend.
Phil Neville picking out Sheringham nicely. Shearer seemed to be bundled over. Ooh, the advantage would have suited England. Scholes was onto the ball. Free kick has been given. Now the Brazilians have 9 men goal side. Gascoigne has shrugged off one of them. Ince couldn't run past Dunga.
Here he goes, driving at Dunga. Dunga, you feel, would get plenty of yellow cards.
Teddy Sheringham has placed the ball. Gascoigne is in the vicinity, so are So and Ince. Shearer trying to take up station on the end of the Brazilian wall. It's 35 yards plus. It's Sheringham.
Just tries to spin the wall.
Dunga looking long for Ronaldo. And Southgate thought twice about giving his goalkeeper a difficult ball.
There you go. Shearer trying to spin the wall for Sheringham to hit it round.
Dunga standing firm. Gascoigne ruled for a foul, Jalminia. Number 13 there is one of the reputed bad boys of Brazilian football. He's been kicked out of a couple of clubs for fights with teammates. Wouldn't let him go lightly. He's got a lot of talent. It's Roberto Carlos off his medium run. Oh, and David Seaman happy just to push that over the crossbar.
What surprises the great element here. Everybody thinks he's going to cross it, and he has put that swerve on it again, and although it's straight down his throat, the pace and power make him shove it over the bar for safety.
The free kick earlier in the tournament has earned him so much respect. The keeper isn't quite sure what he's going to do. Corner dealt with by Phil Neville. Romario. And that was a little further off target.
We see it again, hits it round. It really is a comfortable ball to deal with, but I think surprise is the element there.
Leonardo letting it run to Romario. Leonardo keeping possession very cleverly. Jalminia, ditto. On by Flavio Conceição. Cafu. That excited the crowd. It's Flavio Conceição. Tackled by Southgate. So it was, I'm sorry, who got in the challenge. Now Leonardo. Sheringham standing his ground, and Seaman comes to claim. They were stretched there for a moment, England, but they kept the discipline, waited their moment to get in the challenges, saw Brazil off again. Ball's out.
As Leonardo just manages to try and get it over Sheringham, but Sheringham cleans it out and does his defensive job perfectly. No problem for Seaman.
These little moments of skill have given some encouragement to the Brazil supporters. Here's Jalminia. Tackled fairly by Gascoigne. Phil Neville to Paul Scholes. Paul Gascoigne. That trick didn't come off. Jalminia in a dangerous area of the field has dispossessed him. Sheringham got back, but here's Roberto Carlos.
Some super little build-up play here. Keeping the ball, moving it about, nice and bright. Good trick by Jalminia. Out to Cafu. Cafu decides he's going to join in the action, show what a good player he is. Flavio drives.
Ronaldo into the path of Jalminia. Tried to knock it back. It came off Southgate to Jalminia. Oh, terrific stop by David Seaman. Gareth Southgate was a wee bit unfortunate on the edge of the penalty area, but Jalminia had a clear chance there, clear side of goal.
Tries to feed it into Ronaldo. Jalminia takes it out of his feet. I think that's a good shot, and that's a good block. That's a good save.
Good, strong hand from David Seaman. Brazil, who had 9 corners to England's 1 in the first half, have another. Roberto Carlos. Flicked on by Cilio Silva, but turned away by Campbell. Scholes with the header. Volley is from Cafu. And Seaman with a good ball out to Neville on the right-hand side. Chance for England to counter with Phil Neville. England throw as we...
And we knew again, this is that effort again. A good shot that, you know, and a good save.
Gascoigne, extravagant pass. Phil Neville just wanted a little bit too much time and Douglas came across.
Yeah, I think Phil Neville's been disappointing as an attacking player tonight. He's had a good tournament, but tonight he hasn't got forward half enough times and hasn't produced enough crosses, if any.
Southgate and Campbell forward. Sheringham in space. Lets it run. Paul Scholes. Blocked by Roberto Carlos. Well worked corner though. Now England have got some defending to do with Leonardo on the ball. Phil Neville does that defending. Now Scholes. Game is becoming a little bit more stretched. Shearer has found Sheringham. Couldn't quite return the favour. On the ball, Ronaldo. Romario. Leonardo. Cafu. Roberto Carlos is in acres of space. He's got beyond Phil Neville. This is Roberto Carlos. Dangerous cross, hooked away by Southgate. Reacted very quickly to scoop the ball clear. It's Roberto Carlos again. Leonardo this time. Trying to get past Gary Neville, who would not let him past.
Well, what a little cameo of football quality that would be. What a trick. Gary Neville full marks him, concentrates to get back to the defender ball, but unlucky for Leonardo there.
Ball is driven into the near post, Southgate into the side netting, marking Aldair for the corner. Roberto Carlos will play it in. And Paul Ince will turn it away. Paul Scholes caught in possession on the edge of the penalty area by Flavio Conceição. Now Roberto Carlos. Too deep. So helps it on its way. Romario. Jalminha. Celio Silva. But he just can't help himself when he sees any kind of shooting opportunity from long range. This guy who's built like a good American heavyweight boxer.
But he has screamed that one, albeit over the top. Look at Seaman's face.
Leonardo into Romario. Yes, it has been coming. And with an hour gone, Romario scores for Brazil, and England's proud defensive record and their stern defence has been broken at last by brilliance.
It's a classic goal. Ronaldo, little ball inside. Leonardo threads it through. Romario thinks you face this one across the goal of Topo, in off the post. If you're going to lose the goal, a record, this is the way. This is a classic goal. Some great football led up to this.
Well, the last goal that England conceded away from home was by Ireland's David Kelly in that abandoned international in Dublin 2 years ago. The last one that counted, would you believe, was that shot goal from San Marino's Galtieri in Bologna, 1993. A long time since England on their travels have conceded a goal. When it came, it bore all the hallmarks of Brazil at their best. Ronaldo into the path of Leonardo. Across comes Campbell. Sol Campbell has been penalised and will now be yellow carded.
Where's that little ball on again? I think he's very unlucky there, Campbell. He's just gone strong. He's just stood strong.
Roberto Carlos. Oh, it's a mishit, actually. But it sent Seaman scrambling along his line. Screwed it somewhat. Through the wall.
I think he's saying to Paul Ince, did you touch that, you know? That's a bad one. It's not his best. He's hit the ground before he's kicked it, actually. It's nearly sneaked in.
Shearer's headed down to Scholes. Run for Ince. Rather isolated here. Paul Ince had to try and go it alone, and Celio Silva just stood in front of him. Yellow card for the big defender, quite rightly so. He does drive with real purpose and energy, Paul Ince, when he's on the ball.
Yeah, the ball's going through here. He's knocked the ball past him, but Paul Ince unfortunately isn't.
They've had a little bit of that in Italy during the last year or so. Of course, he's likely to play with Ronaldo next season at Inter Milan. Gascoigne wants to take the free kick quickly. There are two Brazilian players standing very close to the ball. Referee wants the ball back. So is standing over the ball. Ince is behind Gascoigne in the queue. Gascoigne looks favourite. For Gascoigne. I think Taffarel had it covered. This is a bad free kick from Gascoigne.
There's a little decoy run from Sheringham here. It's curled in. It's not going quick enough, really. Even if it's on target, you still think Taffarel will get there, though. Closer with his placement, but Taffarel will have it all alone.
Champions is the belligerent cry from the travelling England supporters. England will have some very considerable souvenirs to take away from this tournament. They'd love one of them to be an unbeaten record. Phil Neville maybe getting in behind Roberto Carlos. And Taffarel managed to hold on to his shot.
Yes, this would have been a dream for the youngster. Drives infield, he's quite useful with his left foot. A little bit wider might have made Taffarel work.
Ronaldo. Flavio Conceição. Jalminha. Slipped in towards Ronaldo, who seemed to be held by Southgate. Referee singularly unimpressed.
Certainly got a hand on him. He didn't get that much of a hand on him.
Just making a claim on the famous man's shirt, I think, for the end of the match. That will do it. England finished the tournament as champions. Brazil finished the tournament as the only unbeaten side. Thanks to a goal which had Brazil written all over it by Romario. One or two little unseemly moments following the end of the game. Signs, I think, of tiredness as much as anything. It's been a long week, a long month for England, but one in which they have achieved so much. A little closer to World Cup qualification via Poland. And despite this defeat at the hands of the world champions here this evening, they will now go forward to collect the first trophy of the Glenn Hoddle era. Next year, who knows? It's not a traditional trophy, but the crystal ball that the FIFA Vice President will hand to the England captain, Alan Shearer, may just provide a glimpse into England's future. The World Cup begins here in a year's time to the very day. If it was beginning tomorrow, Brazil, France and Italy would be amongst the automatic favourites, and England have finished Le Tournoi de France ahead of all of them. Coming up next, analysis from Bob Wilson and John Barnes, plus Kevin Keegan's verdicts after this break.
Welcome back. This evening in Paris, England were beaten 1-0 by world champions Brazil, but still finished up celebrating as winners of Le Tournoi. A hugely successful trip for England, where they've learned a great deal, especially bearing in mind the World Cup finals to be held on French soil 12 months from now. And here's confirmation of England as winners of the tournament, 6 points to their credit, and Brazil finished second, regardless of the result between France and Italy tomorrow.